Hi everyone, good morning. Today is 21st of Feb and I welcome you all to the Hindu newspaper analysis discussion. So in this particular video, we are going to discuss the entire analysis of Hindu newspaper. We'll take all the articles with respect to the UPSC examination as we talk about this particular session. We are also going to take up the articles specifically which are relevant for our examination but are not mentioned in the Hindu newspaper. So sources from other articles from the other sources such as PIB, Indian Express, etc. we are also going to cover. Now, in this particular session, we have divided it in three parts, that is, articles specifically relevant for mains, articles relevant for prelims examination, and mapping. So, all these articles we are going to discuss, and in today, mapping is very important, that is Moro Dharo. Also, along with this, we are going to take a quotation specifically for our UPSC CSE examination, and also we are going to take up the MCQs for our current affairs. So, now, guys, let's get started with this particular session. Now, also, I would like to tell you that you can download the explainer notes of this particular session from the Telegram channel. Link for the Telegram channel has been given in the description box in YouTube. Now, let's get started with this particular session for today. Now, first of all, when we talk about the quotation, so today we are going to take the quotation from Mary Wollstonecraft. Mary Wollstonecraft in the Vindication of Rights of Women write that I do not wish women to have power over men, but over themselves. Because when the women will have power over themselves, they will be able to assert themselves. They will be able to assert themselves. They will be able to ask about their rights. Okay, so women should have the power over themselves to have a sense of assertion, and with this particular sense of assertion, they will be able to seek the rights for themselves. Also, guys, one more thing we are implementing from today, that is what we are going to do. We are going to provide you the MCQ questions for this particular session on our Telegram channel. We are going to provide you on the Telegram channel. Why we are providing it on the Telegram channel? We will provide on the Telegram channel so that what you can do, you can attempt your question there only. Fine, there will be the four options that will be there, and the moment you will attempt the question, you will also get the solution, that whether your answer is right or not, and it can be more interactive. So this is what we are trying to experiment it. So please attempt the questions and please let us know that what you feel about it. Okay, so that is all, guys, about it. And now let's start with the session. Okay, so in the mains, we are going to discuss this particular article, that is Judicial Clarity on Free Speech. Judicial Clarity on Free Speech. Now, guys, basically what has happened. So, first of all, I will give you some background of this particular article, and then we are going to discuss about this particular article and the related issues. So, basically, what has happened? The Bombay High Court has given a judgment in Kunal Kamra case. Has given the judgment in the Kunal Kamra case. Now, what is this particular case? Let's understand the background of that. So basically, you might already be knowing that in past what has happened. In the past, what has happened? Fake news, misinformation, disinformation has become a very big nuisance on the social media. And there is one particular saying, and this particular saying here we can see it is by the Jonathan Swift. So what Jonathan Swift says? Jonathan Swift said that falsehood flies, okay, spreads very fast, but truth comes limping after it. Truth comes limping, slowly dragging after it. So falsehood spreads very fastly. And in this context, you understand this thing, that today fake news has become a really big nuisance on the social media, and this fake news, it can incite the riots, it can incite violence. This particular fake news can drive the communal disputes, it can be used for political purposes. So fake news is a very big problem. Now government, in order to solve this particular challenge of fake news, basically what happened, as a part of IT rules 2021, notified one amendment. And as per this amendment, the government of India notified that we are going to come out with the FCU, that is the fact checking unit. Now, government initially said that we are deciding to nominate the PIB, Press Information Bureau, as a fact check unit. Now, what this fact checking unit is going to do? It will see the major news that is floating on social media, and if it is a fake news, then that particular news will be flagged as fake news by this particular fact check unit. And by this particular way, we are going to solve this particular challenge of fake news. This was something that was proposed. Now, intention of this particular thing is good. But what happened? Many of the activists, fine, they said that actually what government is doing, government is trying to become sole arbiter of the truth. Government is trying to become sole arbiter of the truth. Means government tries that single-handedly, government is trying that single-handedly they should define that what is the right information and what is wrong information. It gives a lot of power to the government. What government can do? Government, any information which is not serving the political purpose for the present government in the day, they can classify that particular news as fake news. But anything which is serving the government ideology, even if that is a false propaganda, that thing government can certifies as the true news. Today you know that the real power on the social media is the power to influence the opinion, and government will try to influence the opinion by their self determining what is true and what is false. So therefore guys, what has happened because of this particular thing, this amendment in the IT rule, it was challenged in the Bombay High Court. It was challenged in the Bombay High Court. Bombay, it was said that such body should not be constituted. What happened? Bombay High Court in the past, first of all, asked the government that you should not notify it right now, and we will give a final judgment. And now what has happened? The judgment has been given by the Bombay High Court, and this article is about that particular judgment only. So in order to understand this particular thing, you need to understand this particular background first. Only after understanding this background, you will be able to make the sense of this particular article. So basically, what has happened? Government was discussing the constitutional validity of the rule 3 subclause 1 subclause b subclause 5 of the IT rules 2021 that I just mentioned you. If you don't want to remember this long name, simply it's not that much important also. Now, what happened? Fact checking unit was constituted. Now, government delivered the judgment, and government had said this particular thing, that this particular constitutional amendment, this particular amendment of bringing a fact check unit, it is unconstitutional. This amendment was unconstitutional, and it will violate Article 19, subclause 1, subclause A. Fine. It will violate Article 19, subclause 2, 19, subclause 1, subclause A, freedom of speech and expression. Now, suppose I am a satirical, I am a columnist, okay, I have said my views on the social media. Now, they can be called as a fake news, but understand this opinion can never be true and false, but government, by fact-checking unit, can declare that it is a fake news and is being removed. Okay, it also violates 19 subclause 2 reason. See, when we talk about Article 19 or when we talk about any speech expression, you already know that it is not absolute. You already know that it is not something absolute, it is qualified. So reasonable restrictions can be there. Now court says that even this rule that you have brought, it does not comes in the definition of reasonable restriction. Okay, then it also violates, apart from Article 19, Article 14, Article 79 of the IT Act. Now what is Article 79? Article 79, guys, in a way gives safe harbor. Article 79, what it does? Article 79 gives the safe harbor to social media intermediaries. Now, what is a safe harbor? Let me explain you. So basically, guys, you see this thing that, let's say, on Facebook, there is so much of information that is there, so much of hateful videos that are there. Can you go and arrest the Mark Zuckerberg for that thing? Or can you arrest the manager for the, let's say, the Facebook Meta? They have the India enterprise. So that enterprise's CEO, can you arrest them? No, you cannot arrest them. So they need, why they cannot, you cannot arrest them? Because they have an immunity. This immunity is called as a safe harbor immunity. Safe harbor immunity, in the very simple words, is that social media platforms should not be made liable to what is being floated on their platform. They should not be made liable. That is a safe harbor protection. And this safe harbor protection was given as per the section 79 of the IT Act. Now, government in the past, they said that if you will not follow what the fact checking unit says, you will lose this safe harbor. You will lose this safe harbor. So this is also wrong as per the government. So, as per the Supreme Court. So Article 19, 14, Section 79, all they got violated. Now, this particular judgment, they said this particular thing that, see, free speech is sacrosanct. Free speech is sacrosanct. It cannot be violated. Though it can be restricted, but the boundaries have been clearly been given. Reasonable limitation has clearly been given in Article 19 subclause 2 subclause 4. Beyond that, if you are bringing any new restriction, for example, fake news is not mentioned in Article 19 subclause 2 subclause 6. This is a new ground. Now, new ground you cannot introduce as per your whims and fancies. But tomorrow, why? Because tomorrow you can bring any new ground. Today you are bringing this. Tomorrow you can do anything. So we don't want to start a slippery slope. Also, next thing that comes here in this particular capacity is that actually what is happening, this particular judgment underscores the importance of disagreement in a democracy. Fine. Why? Because see, tomorrow somebody will disagree with you, will say something, and you cannot flag it down. So that gives more importance to democracy, dissent in the democracy, which is very much important. Also, guys, it has been provided that this particular judgment has not said that you don't need to regulate social media. They have said that there is the need of regulation of the digital platform social media that is important. Why? Because understand this thing, Jonathan Swift's statement that I have just told you, falsehood flies and truth comes limping after it. So if fake news is not controlled, this will spread out like anything, like wildfire. So this has to be protected, but that protection cannot be given at the cost of such high power to the government. Here, even if we talk about the political thinker Harold Lusky, in his Grammar of Politics, he said this particular thing, that the will of the state is subjected to scrutiny by those who are affected by the exercise of state power. Means what government is saying, what government is controlling, it is not sacrosanct. It can always be questioned. Who can question? Who are getting affected? Citizens can always question government. It has been said that a trust in the government is held upon conditions. Trust in the government is not supreme. It is held by conditions. Conditions means that government has to be accountable to the public from time to time. That accountability has to be there. Okay. Also, what has happened? This particular judgment, it also underlined the judicial review, as it is very important. It find judicial review, that judiciary can review the laws, that they are not ultra virus to the Constitution of India. All these particular things have happened, and therefore this judgment happens to be a very important judgment for the Article 19 as well as the social media intermediaries and their role. So the intention of a fact checking unit was good, but I will point certain points that rather than giving all this particular power in the hands of the government, what government could have done? Government could have appointed any other body which is a neutral or which has a distance from the government. That could have been done. It could have been a good, nice approach. Moving to the next article, having panchayat as self-governing institutions. Having panchayat as self-governing institution. Now, this particular article, we are going to see with respect to GS paper number 2, issues of devolution, issues related to the Panchayati Raj institution. Now, this is going to be a very important article for our GS paper number 2, and already on the PRIs in the past, mains question has been asked, and in the many times in the past also on the same themes question have been asked. Now, so basically, this article is actually taking an overview of the 73rd and 74th Constitutional Amendment Act that got passed in the 1992. Now, 73rd and 74th Constitutional Amendment Act that we talk about it, what it did, it led to the creation of the local bodies in India. And these local bodies, such as the Panchayati Raj institution for village and urban local body for the urban areas, will function as the institution of local self-government. They will promote the grassroots democracy by giving people a direct taste of democratic practices. Why? Because people for the local purposes are going to choose their own power. It was provided that as a follow-up, what happened? Ministry of Panchayati Raj was also constituted in 2004. And this Ministry of Panchayati Raj is going to strengthen the rural local government. Now, but there are certain issues which have not got rectified, and up till now the Panchayati Raj institutions are not working as was expected from them. Let's understand that what challenges or what problems are there. First challenge is with respect to the devolution of fund. Now, guys, understand this particular thing, that Reserve Bank of India also published a report with respect to the working of the panchayats, and they provide that every panchayat faces 3 type of challenges. That is problem of 3F. What is the now? This is something extra from this article, so ensure you note it down separately. Fine, because it was not given in the article. So there is a problem of 3F, and this 3F is problem of fund, problem of functions, and the problem of functionaries. Problem of functionaries. Fund, they don't have money. Functions, they don't have power. Functionaries, they don't have human resource to do that. So here we are going to discuss the fund, that is the devolution of money. Now understand this particular thing, that when we talk about the Panchayati Raj institution, they are earning only 1% of their revenue through the taxes. Okay, they can impose a lot of taxes, impose a lot of toll fees, etc. Only 1% money they are earning through that. Other money it is getting raised from the state and the center in the form of the grant, in the form of the other transfers. This is an eye opener. Are you getting it or not? Only 1% money is being availed from the their own resources. So by it means that they are too much dependent on to the center and the state government, which is not right. Okay, the next thing that comes here is that the expert committee report on the Panchayati Raj suggested that own sources of the revenue of the panchayats are very much less. Very less money they raise from the property tax, tolls, user charges. Gram Sabha play a very important role in enhancing the local revenue, but they are also not playing an important role. Now, when we talk about the Gram Sabha, so Gram Sabha play a very important role in fostering the self-sufficiency, sustainable development of the grassroots democracy. Gram Sabhas, what they can do, they can effectively plan the development. They can play a very important role in making the important decisions as how to empower the people. They can also, most importantly, implement the revenue generating initiatives in agriculture, in tourism, in other activities. They can generate a lot of revenue. They have the power to impose taxes, fees, and levies. But actually, what has happened? Many of the Gram Panchayats, they have not implemented it. They have not implemented it. And what has happened? Often there are some procedural problems that have come. Moreover, guys, in some of the states, though Gram Panchayat is collecting a lot of revenue, but intermediate panchayat and the district panchayat, they are collecting even less. They're collecting even less. Okay. So there are certain challenges. Now, what is the challenge in this capacity? Now, guys, biggest challenge that why they don't collect their own resources, it is number one, the culture of expecting free service from the government. All the time they're expecting that government will give them money. So why they need to invest in raising their separate revenue? Also, there is the reluctance to pay the taxes in the people's mind also. If in the village, any activity that was not taxed till now, you bring a tax from tomorrow, what it will do, it will make people hesitant. Also, what happened, elected representative, panchayat member, they fear that it will have a negative impact on their popularity, that ex leader introduced this new tax, now our money is disposable income is going down. So because of this particular reason also, the elected leaders don't come out with such particular kind of policies. So therefore there are the efforts that are needed at all the level of governance to ensure that dependency on grant, state government should be there, and basically they should generate their own revenues. Also, generating own revenue is important because see, when you are dependent too much onto the state grant or onto the center grant, often they come out with a lot of conditionalities. Okay, now these often by because these conditionally their flexibility to spend goes down. Now you see, every village, every panchayat will have its own problem, so they need a customized solution. One size fit all approach does not helps. Okay, so therefore they should be given autonomy to spend, and that autonomy they can have in their own resources. That is all, guys, about it. And now move to the next article. Calm assessment. Now, this particular article also we have taken from the Hindu, and we are going to see it with respect to the GS paper number 3, GS paper number 3, environment and related issues. Also in the social justice, GS paper number 2, we can discuss this particular article. Social justice, GS paper number 2, also we can take this particular article. So basically, guys, what this article is all about. So basically, Supreme Court of India, it has put a pause. Now understand this thing, final judgment has not come. It has given a pause. It has put a momentary pause on the center's effort to amend the Forest Act 1980. Actually, guys, let me give you some background, because without background, you will not be able to understand it much. Now you see this particular thing. When we talk about the forest, there can be two meanings of forest. One is the dictionary meaning of the forest. So what is the dictionary meaning of the forest? Any area which has a thick canopy cover, tree cover, it is a forest. Normal dictionary meaning of forest says that, for example, when I use the word forest, in your mind will come that, okay, forest is a place where there are a lot of trees. So dictionary meaning, literal meaning of the word forest. And other is the legal meaning of the forest. Now understand this particular thing, guys, that when we talk about this Forest Conservation Act 1980, this particular act came to conserve the forest because a lot of forested land was being diverted into the non-forested activity. And guys, understand this thing, that this Forest Conservation Act, how much successful it is. Between 1981 to 2022, average diversion of forest was just 22,000 hectare, and it is just 1/10 of what was happening in 1951 to 75 when this Forest Conservation Act did not came. So if we don't come, it will not give the protection to the forest will get diverted and all the land will be lost. So Forest Conservation Act was brought. Forest Conservation Act was brought. Now guys, understand this particular thing. Actually what happened, Forest Conservation Act provided that the forests are to be given the protection. Now guys, what actually happened? There was still timber felling that was going on in many of the areas in Tamil Nadu and many other southern states. Actually, because of this thing, what happened? Supreme Court came out with the Godvarman judgment. In this particular Godvarman judgment, Supreme Court said that we are taking now an expanded view of the forest. What is this expanded view of the forest? Now see, government provided that forests which have been legally notified as the forest, forests that have been legally notified as a forest, enjoy the protection. They are to be conserved. But what about the other areas where the trees are there, but they are not legally notified as the forest? There is no such legal mandate to protect them. Government will protect only those forests which have legally been classified or notified as the forest. Other areas which are having a lot of trees but not notified as a forest, we are not concerned about conserving them that much. Now, in the Godvarman case, Supreme Court said that actually, we are introducing the concept of deemed forest. Okay, now you see this thing. The forests which have been notified legally, they are the forest, but the other areas which have a lot of tree cover but not notified, they are also the forest, deemed forest. So what they did, they moved to the dictionary meaning of the word forest. Dictionary meaning of the word forest means forest is any area which is having a lot of forest. Notified, not notified, we don't care. So they said that, okay, one are the classified forest, okay, and other are the deemed forest, the ones which are not officially classified as the forest by the government or in the revenue record, and they are to be protected. This ruling was given by the Supreme Court. Okay, now actually what happened recently, Forest Conservation Act was amended by the government, and government said that the meaning of the forest is a notified forest. Apart from that, they are not the forest. Now center says that actually why we have come out with this particular judgment. We have come out with this judgment because private citizens, they were reluctant to cultivate their plantation on or the orchards. Fine, they were not growing the plants in their private land. Why? Because if in their private land there are a lot of forests, there are also a lot of trees, government will call it as a deemed forest, and then we will lose our ownership over that particular land. We will lose our ownership to cut them down and to make a resort or something like that. So therefore, citizens, what they were doing, they were keeping their areas vacant and not growing the trees in them. Now, if we will remove this, that your forest can be treated as deemed forest, if we remove this condition, people will be motivated to grow more forest, and by that, actually ecological benefit will come. So they say that India has ambition to create 2.5 billion to 3 billion ton of forest sink. So therefore, we want that on private land, people should also grow trees. And they will only grow when they have this assurance that, okay, their land will not be considered as a forest and they will still have the ownership. So therefore, we have brought it. But there were a lot of PILs that were floated saying that the government has diluted the definition of forest. And now the Supreme Court had said that right now, the forest will be right now bring a pause on your amendment, and we will consider that the forests are those areas which have trees. So that is something that has come. Final judgment has not come. When final judgment will come, we'll see what more changes will be introduced in this capacity. That is all. Now moving to the next article. Anoxic marine basins. Anoxic marine basins. So basically, guys, what has happened recently, scientists, they have said that anoxic marine basins will be the most suitable, viable places to conduct the carbon sequestration. Now, what is carbon sequestration, guys? So basically, right now, the world is trying to become carbon neutral, and that we need to reduce the carbon emissions. One way of reducing the carbon emission is carbon sequestration. That is, absorb the carbon and store it down somewhere below the earth or below the ocean. So capturing and storing it is the carbon sequestration. So where maximum carbon sequestration can be done? In the anoxic marine basin. So in your prelims, a question might come that recently anoxic marine basins were in the news. What it means? So what is anoxic marine basins? Anoxic marine basins are the aquatic environments devoid of oxygen. Those places in the ocean where there is low oxygen or no oxygen. and actually they are the permanent formations. Now see, if you go in the ocean, there are a particular permanent formations that have developed where there is no oxygen. They are very much deep in the ocean. Okay, so basically what happens, sometimes water layers. Now you see this thing, water contains the dissolved oxygen. Water contains the dissolved oxygen. But sometimes what happen, now see, water does not mixes if there is a density difference because of the salt, or if the temperature difference is there. So suppose here there is an upper layer, it has dissolved oxygen. The lower water does not have oxygen. But this water, upper water, now just focus on the screen, upper water might not mix with the lower water. Why? Because the density and salinity differences will be there. So therefore what happens, at the lower levels, there will be the layer of water that will be formed, which will have the low level of oxygen, and because of this stratification, density differences, salt concentration differences, these bodies will be formed, they will not be mixed. Now these basins, they are in few hundred meters to several kilometers, and they are usually 10 meter to 500-meter below the surrounding sea floor, and there is a lack of oxygen. Now question might come here that how life is sustained there. So here in these particular water, the special type of microbes would be found which will have different metabolic adaptation. For example, they might use nitrate for their respiration. They might obtain carbon from the gases such as CO2, methane. They actually don't use oxygen, okay, for their survival. Okay, so this is something that is there. Okay, and these geological features and Anoxic basins, they may contain salt domes, find lot of soil, etc. can be there. Now here at these particular sites, the carbon can be sequestered, because the carbon there will be used by these microbes for their life. So this is something that can be done, and these things you can also put it in your answers also. Now moving to the next one, air quality in Indian cities linked to the La Nina. Now guys, when we talk about the El Nino and La Nina, you already might be knowing about the El Nino and La Nina. These are the climatic geographical phenomena. For example, when we talk about the La Nina, what is La Nina? In simple words, La Nina is characterized by cooler than average sea surface temperature in the central and east Pacific Ocean. And because of this particular La Nina, what happens? There is the increased rainfall in some areas, droughts in the others, particularly La Nina. It brings the favorable rainfall in India and also changes the weather patterns. Wind phenomena, it also changes. Okay. So guys, when we talk about the La Nina, okay, so here we can see, okay, so yes, so here we have this particular picture. So here we have this particular picture where you can observe the El Nino and La Nina. So what happens? La Nina, there will be the cooler temperatures. Fine, here, right, here this particular photograph on the left side, you can see there will be the cooler temperature at the Pacific. Okay, by that what will happen? The water will move toward the side of Australia. Warm water, fine, will move toward the side of Australia. And here what will happen? There will be the impact on the climatic patterns. Wind patterns will get impacted. Now this is not specifically the class on El Nino and La Nina. I'll not therefore going too much in the detail. But when we talk about the El Nino and La Nina, they impact the air quality, and this time La Nina has directly been equated with the air quality. Now you see this particular thing. To understand it, you see this particular thing, that actually what happened. So we find that during the October and January 2023, there was a high concentration of PM 2.5 in Delhi. What happened? Basically, there are the during the winters, surface is cold, and the wind is dense. Now this dense wind, it stays on the ground, and therefore the concentration of pollutants increases here. Are you getting it or not? Basically, the winds are not very much fast here. It cannot take away these pollutants. So during October 23 to January 2024, there was a high concentration of PM 2.5 and a lot of pollution was there. This pollution exacerbates because of the agriculture waste that is burned in the Punjab and Haryana. Are you getting it or not? However, 2022 situation was different. In 2022, northern Indian cities experienced a cleaner air, but there was high pollution into the southern cities, western cities such as Mumbai, Bangalore, Chennai. They faced a lot of pollution. Why? It is because of the La Nina. So what happened actually, guys? La Nina changed the wind patterns in 2022. And because of that, what happened? There was basically wind circulation shifted from northwesterly. So wind is northwesterly in the winters, but it's changed from northwesterly to the north south, and therefore pollutants in the north. Therefore, the pollutants in the north, they were carried away towards the south, and therefore the cities such as Mumbai, Chennai, they became more polluted. They became more polluted, and the extension of La Nina for the long period of time is going to change the air quality in the Indian cities. Some cities will become more polluted, some cities will become less polluted. So this is the formation of the. Apart from that, other things also changes the pollution. So this is the first time that La Nina has been related with the air quality. So this is something, guys, that you need to understand. And now moving to the next article. Spur-winged lapwing. So this we are going to see with respect to environment prelims. Environment prelims. So basically, guys, what has happened recently, African Mediterranean bird spur-winged lapwing was spotted in Amavaripet Lake. Amavaripet Lake. Where is this Amavaripet? Amavaripet Lake. It is located in the Telangana. It is located in the Telangana, and for the first time, spur-winged lapwing has been seen in India. So therefore, it can be asked in the prelims examination. Now, what you need to know: IUCN status. The IUCN status of this particular bird is least concern, and where primarily it is found: sub-Saharan belt, in Central Africa, marshes, freshwater wetlands. It is found, and it is native to Middle East and the Mediterranean region. It feeds on insect worms, fine, and was striking brown, black, and white in color. Fine. Now, when we talk about the Mavri Pet, where it is having found, it is in Telangana. Fine. Okay, found in Hanmakonda, Telangana. Are you getting it or not? And the name comes from the nearby villages Amavri Pet. That is all, guys, about it. And now, let's take the mapping entry for today. So today, the mapping entry we are going to take is the Morodharo. Now, what is Morodharo? So here you can see on the map Morodharo. So Morodharo, it is location in Gujarat, and here a Harappan era fortified settlement has been found in Morodharo. Harappan settlement have been found. Where it is located? Kutch district in Gujarat. Kutch district in Gujarat. Now, this particular settlement exhibits the feature of the matured to late Harappan age. Now, you know that the Harappan age can be divided in the early, mature, late, and a fortification of more than 100 meter from east to west and 58 meter from north to south has been found. These numbers are not that important, but this fortification is very much important. And there we can also find that there is a 10 by 10 meter platform also that has been located. Also, burial cairns have also been found. What are the burial cairns? So basically, at a burial site, there are the stones that are placed in this particular manner to show that there was a burial that happened. So burial cairns have also been found. And the Harappan poetry, perforated jars having holes in that, reserved slipware, terracotta cakes, etc., have been found here. Okay. Now, here, guys, in this particular note, also I have given you some other features of the important sites of Harappa, such as Dholavira, Lothal, Surkotada, Rangpur, etc. So please just download these particular notes, and this additional information with respect to Gujarat, with respect to Harappan site is very important this year because a new site has been found. Also here, I have discussed other features of the Run of Kutch. For example, bunny grasslands are found in Run of Kutch. So bunny grasslands, fine, they are distinct and give lot of support to the pastoral communities there. Also, Presposis julifora, which is an invasive species. Fine, for that also Gujarat was in news. Fine, and Run of Kutch Biosphere Reserve also is an important one. What I want that you please download this particular notes and take a glance of this particular information also, not a current affair, but a static information relevant for your examination. So that is all, guys, about it. And with this, we come to an end to the today's session. Guys, I hope that you have understood it. So now we'll be meeting in the next class. Till then, please take care of yourselves. And I hope that you have liked the video. Thank you so much.